I thought Murder Mystery 2 was a pretty decent experience, and it's been a while since I saw the first film, but I think I preferred this one. But I also didn't really care about the narrative, and I will expand on all of these points in a moment. Spoiler free. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Jeremy Garelick, written by James Vanderbilt, and of course we have a cast including Adam Sandler as Nick and Jennifer Aniston as Audrey. And since the previous film, they are working on their private eye agency, and their friend, who is the Maharajah, is kidnapped. They go to his wedding. He is kidnapped, obviously very early in the film, and Nick and Audrey work to try and solve this mystery. I'll be honest, I didn't really care about the narrative. I didn't think the story was that interesting. I wasn't really bothered about finding out who was responsible for the kidnap. I mean, there was a tiny part of me that was a little bit curious, but in general, the narrative was really secondary to me in terms of my interests. What worked well for me was the comedy. I genuinely found this to be very funny, and I struggle to find funny films. I think it's because I'm a huge sitcom fan, and in general, I find that sitcoms are funnier than comedy films. I don't know why, just in general, I laugh out loud at sitcoms quite a lot. It rarely happens with comedy films. And I don't think I laughed out loud at any point with this one, but I did find it to be very entertaining and very funny, very well written, and it doesn't surprise me that most of the comedy, in my opinion, came from Nick and Audrey, of course, Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. I just think they work so well together. The characters are brilliant. I love watching them interact. Their dialogue is so brilliant. And also when they're talking to other people as well, not just when they're communicating with each other. I just found it to be very, very funny. So the narrative, it was fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the story. I just didn't really care very much. And when it comes to mysteries, ordinarily that's a big deal. If you're not emotionally invested in the story with a mystery, what's the point? But because the comedy element is so strong, and the performances are obviously brilliant, I was still really thoroughly enjoying the journey. So I'm rather happy with this one. For me, it worked really well. And I think I remember liking the first film. I have a generally positive experience with it, but I don't remember finding it that funny. I could be wrong. I haven't watched it in a while. I haven't listened back to what my review was. But in hindsight, I don't remember it being hysterically funny. But this one I thought was significantly sharper, better written in terms of the comedy. The narrative itself, I don't know, maybe the narrative of the first film was a little bit more interesting, but the comedy for this one was a lot stronger. So I think I preferred this one. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. If you watched the first film and hated it, then I'd say, while I do prefer this one, I think, it's probably not worth watching if you hated the first film, because it's not so different that I think you'd otherwise enjoy it. But if you liked the first film, if you didn't mind the first film, then I'd say Murder Mystery 2 is definitely worth watching. I really enjoyed it because of the characters, because of the comedy. Let's face it, I loved it because Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston gave amazing performances. It's very creative, very well done. The narrative itself was fine, and in general, I thought it was a pretty fun experience.